Hi, but welcome to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. The other week, I released a video that was one of those inspired video challenges ideas from YouTube about building your own wrestling roster. Now, I decided to have a go at it, and this is what I released last week with just showing some ideas of who I put in certain divisions. I did change the company name to Lion Den Pro Wrestling instead of Elite Future Wrestling. I just threw that name together quickly as a quick one to put on there, but I decided to go for Lion Den Pro Wrestling instead. I think it fits the guys a little bit more who I have on here. So again, there's 10 legends, 10 main event guys, 10 junior heavyweight division, 10 tag team, 10 mid card, and 10 women division. So in total, the roster is 60 altogether. So what I started to do was just build up like weekly show ideas just to show how it would maybe look if you were to play it out almost. But this is just something that I tried randomly. So let me know what you guys think of the idea of this roster. It's pretty, I think, a good roster overall. I mean, the main event guy, Brian K, I think he's underrated for what he does in the ring. For his size, he's very, athletic. I think, though, I think he does get a lot of slack for the injury prone he has been. But I did enjoy his work in TNA and Lucha Underground, and I think he deserves a better push. That's just my hot take on him. So again, some people think he got no charisma. I think you put him with a good manager that can talk on his behalf, like a Paul Heyman or Jay Mitchell. I think that would work with him. Again, Sheamus, Gunther, Mike Santana doing really well at the moment. Aleister Black, I think he's another underrated guy who should have been more in the main event scene. Roman Reigns, star power really at the moment. He got that aura about him, so he's a good fit there. Will Ospreay, he puts on phenomenal matches. I don't think I've ever seen a bad one from him. So again, with Ospreay, Takashita, I most likely will say that wrong. So again, nag at me in the comments. Jacob Fatu, he's doing phenomenal work right now. And Penta, I've been a fan of Pentagon Jr. ever since the Lucha Underground. I've tried to watch him whenever I can. So again, that's my main event scene. A little bit of a mixer. I think again, Sheamus, you can put him with anybody. So again, and this is my junior division guys. Ace Austin, Ruckus from CZW. I think he's retired now. He's from the early 2002, 2005 sort of days. He was doing flips and stuff like that. He was a good all-around junior heavyweight division guy. Jody Fleiss, another one of my favorites from the UK from the early days. Ray Phoenix, both of Penta. You can also have them as a tag team for the tag division. Kota Ibushi, I think he, just made he come back, so I think he's gonna be getting pushed at some stage, hopefully. Amazing Red again, he was one of my favorites in the junior division earlier on. Kenta, Peter Williams, P. Williams. I love the Canadian Destroyer when he was first doing it. So again, he will always be one of those top guys for me. Chris Sabin, Christopher Daniels, the OG there, Christopher Daniels. Tag team division, the Yacht one is just a bit of old school, Kai and Tai, Takamichi Funaki. They should have got a better run in the WWE, but they were doing it was different from everyone else, but they just sadly didn't. Immortals in NWA, they're seem to be like a powerhouse tag team, so I think they'll do a good little mixture. Nathan Frazier and him, he partner at the moment, the stuff they're doing on the main roster, and also the NXT matches, and they're a phenomenal tag team together. DIY, AMW, one of my favorite tag teams from TNA from the early days, and Team Canada, because you got a mixture there as a faction, not just a tag team. So you got like Eric Young, Bobby Roode, so even though Eric Young isn't on here or A1, for example, it kind of comes with the territory a little bit. So it's kind of like an NWO type of faction, almost not like NWO, but you got guys that will come into that faction, but they'll may go out, sort of thing. And then you got this mid card Tinderi. I used to enjoy Tinderi, so I put him there. Definitely one I used to watch. I put Perry Saturn in there because he was a bit of an overall guy as well. Lance Storm, Test, I think is another underrated one. Buddy Ray, for he work that he did as the main event. Not main event right here, wrong group, Aces and Eights, sorry. What he did with the Aces and Eights, just as a top heel, he was really good. I don't think he fits with some of the guys at the moment in my main event, but that's why I put him kind of there, so I can just move him across to the main event. But he will be kind of a filler guy, like in between stuff and that. So he will be same with Test as well, and Josh Alexander. He'll be another one that will be a part of that kind of crowd. So again, that is kind of what my roster currently looking like, and I got 10 legends as well. My GM is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, because I think he was a good GM at the time, you know, giving people the stoner beers and all that stuff, and he was pretty chilled and everything. So I think he made a good GM with the guys out here. So again, that is my current flow, and this is so far week 1. Now, I've done it in a couple of segments. Let me just go to the page. So, segment 1, just Stone Cold promo for tournaments to begin, you know, new beginning, new era type of deal stuff. The first one going to be the Junior Heavyweight Title Tournament. So, again, you got Black One. It's going to be Christopher Daniel versus Kota Ibushi. And I'm going to have Christopher Daniel winning, but with a heel turn. And then it'll be Rey Fenix versus Jody Fleiss, but I'm going to have Rey Fenix win. So, Christopher Daniel versus Rey Fenix. And then Christopher Daniel will go through to the finals, which will be on the first pay-per-view. So that'll be the first one there. And then the second block is going to be like Ruckus versus Ace Austin. Ace Austin, I'm going to give him the push to go to the finals. And then Amazing Red versus Chris Sabin. They've been back and forth for a long time. I haven't actually finished that one off. So let's go Amazing Red. Amazing Red always deserves a... Sorry. So Amazing Red, again, why can't... sorry, I keep clicking on the wrong house. So again, it's just kind of like a play out of how some of the matches may look. And then block 3 is going to be Petey Williams versus AJ Styles. Petey Williams, he's going to win with a heel roll up with feet on the wall, help him cut the wall, blah blah blah, like that. You know, still in the victory. And then Funaki versus Crazy Steve. Now I don't think I got, oh yeah, because Crazy Steve is a part of Decay Tag Team. That's where he comes in, but he's part of the X Division kind of style, so he's part of that division as well. He crosses over, and I'm going to put Crazy Steve gets it over on Petey Williams. Petey Williams, you know, he's great and everything, but I think Crazy Steve just gives a bit of a variety almost. Otherwise, he's going to be pretty standard bulk, old school X Division style matchup. So the finals is going to be Christopher Daniels versus Ace Austin versus Crazy Steve. You know, Decay would do well, so why not throw Crazy Steve in there? And then on this show, it's going to be tag team matchup Outrunners versus DIY. And the main event is segment 4, Jacob Fatu versus Sheamus. That's going to be the main event. Now, so the pay-per-view for, I called it Future Begins for the first pay-per-view. The Junior Heavyweight title, 3-way dance elimination matchup, Christopher Daniel versus Ace Austin versus Crazy Steve. That is going to be the first match officially announced in the bag. Now, I'm just working on week 2, so let's go for segment 1. Let's go for week 2. And then let's go for Jacob Fatu and Sheamus. Sorry, I keep on running. I double click on the wall backstage. So basically, this is to continue from the end of the show from last week, where Jacob Fatu and Sheamus had a big matchup, and then they're brawling backstage basically. Segment 2 is going to be the women's division. So let's throw some names in there. Let's have a look. Victoria versus Zelina Vega. Why not? Just a bit of randomness. So Victoria versus Zelina. I did used to like Victoria, to be fair. Not in her TNA one. TNA one terrible, but I did enjoy her feud with Trish, and when they had the hardcore match at Survivor Series 2003. You know, I'll give them credit there. So segment 3, let's go for just a random tag team matchup. Rockers Amazing Red versus Decay. No, not Decay, sorry. Let's go for Kai and Tai. I think I put that right. Kai and Tai. Yeah, Taka Michinoshi, and I'll put their names in the hold on a minute, and let me put their name in there. Taka and Ryu. I do have issue with pronouncing some of the Japanese names, so I will get those terribly wrong just before you say anything. Segment 4. Okay, I'm gonna go for Takeda. I think I said that right, Takeda. Let's go him against. I don't want to do Brian Cage, that would be traditional. Mike Santana, Roman Reigns, but that's way. Who would be an unlikely opponent? Let's go Mike Santana. Just why not? So let's go for him against Mike Santana. So what I'm going to do is just do some single matches to build up for what may be the, you know, the world title matchup to be announced here. So let's say that this show is going to be sorry, match 3. match. 6 match card. I think for an indie type show, that will be kind of what your expectation would be almost, depending how big the show is. So let's go 6, and then go for world title matchup will be the main event. There's a part of me that want to do what TNA did for the X Division, which was a double fatal 4-way elimination matchup where you have to get pinned twice to be eliminated, which I might do for the main event. I might copy that idea. That's what I'm kind of thinking right now. So that's where my head is. So again, segment 4, I think, you know, that's not a bad show realistically. You know, you got the brawl there, the women's matchup, and then you got a tag team matchup there. So again, let me know what you guys reckon on week 2. Weekly 3, week 3, let's go for week 3. Okay, so segment 1, let's go for Stone Cold promo, for world title match announcement. Okay, look at world title match announcement. We get something in place now. Go for now on week 3, segment 2. Let's go for segment 2. How about Will Ospreay versus Lance Storm? Yeah, why not? Will Ospreay versus Lance Storm. Ah, I'll let the cats on then. Oops, sorry. Sometimes I forget to look at the cats if I got it on and off. Lance Storm. Okay, segment 3. So again, the way that I'm kind of sorry, I completely moved segment 3. So the mid-card guys will face against the heavyweight guys just to build that match, use the storyline. So that's kind of how it will play out a little bit. So again, that's why I've done Will Ospreay versus Lance Storm, student versus teacher type of deal. Let's also go for Perry Saturn versus Doug Williams. Yeah, Doug Williams versus. I'm gonna go for Johnny Gargano. Gargano versus who else I want to put in there? I'll go Kenta actually. Go Kenta. This is gonna be a fatal 4-way matchup, and then there will be a second one in segment 4. These are gonna be for the TV title. So hold on a minute. So let me put down there. Oh, TV title. Announcement, 2 fatal 4-way matches. So again, to put that in there, it's just a random add in now. Let go segment 4, and then go Joe Hendry. Yeah, so I did again. You hear what I mean? I keep on forgetting to turn the cats off. Versus, let's go for Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix versus. T.D. Perkins versus Josh Alexander. I want to make things feel random. I don't want to just copy what people are doing currently now. Alexander. Sorry, because I'm looking at the camera while I'm typing. That's why I'm recently. So, okay. So again, the winner, and let's go for. You know what? I'm going to make Perry Saturn the winner on this one. Perry Saturn versus. They call Josh Alexander. Actually, I'm putting that there for. I'm being an idiot. Hold on. Let me just move that out there and then go for. Winner. I'm going to go for Josh Alexander. I think he'll be a good fit in that TV title. For Josh Alexander, and then after the matches there'll be a can't stare down between Josh and Josh and Perry. Okay, there'll be stare down between the two, you know, just to finish the show off. So the pay-per-view will also have let's go for the TV title championship. TV. We'll do television championship. Josh Alexander versus Perry Saturn. I want to make it 2 out of 3 falls. Why not? You know what? I am gonna make that main event fatal 4-way double time for different now. Double elimination match. You know, we want to make a champion strong, we make a champion strong. I think that will make it definitely. So I think Jacob part 2 is going to be 1 because and Sheamus are going to be my first 2 versus Sheamus, and then versus that's what I'm going to work out next one for the following show, week 4. So week 4, let's go for week 4 1, and let's go for Gunther versus Brian Cage. Winner goes to fatal 4-way, and I'm going to put down the winner for that as Gunther. I will get slaughtered on the internet for that one. So Gunther will be in this matchup as well. I know this is looking like WWE, guys, right now. Hold on. And then let's have a look who else we can put in. Makes sense. I'm gonna go Aleister Black versus Mike Santana. Okay, so segment 2. Mike Santana versus Aleister Black. The Black win with a heel, you know, move like with the black mist and all that. So winner Aleister Black. So that way you kind of got your heel one in there. So the 2 extra ones for the pay-per-view is going to be Gunther and Aleister. Aleister Black. Sorry again. I'm typing and looking at the same time, terrible. So the fatal 4-way match that was going to be Jacob Fatu versus Sheamus versus Gunther versus Aleister Black, and it'll be a double elimination. So they'll have to be pinned twice to be eliminated from match. So this is going to take up quite a chunk. You're looking like a 40-minute match, maybe even an hour for this type of matchup. So far we got that booked out, and then we're going to have the women's title match. Let's go for Xia Brookside. Brookside versus Athena. Versus Gail Kim. Versus Awesome Kong. Why not? Asuka was a good, you know, heavyweight female, so to be fair, it would make sense. So that'll be them guys in there. So again, you got, let me make that a bit more better to see in there. Women title, TV television championship, and then world title matchup, world title main event, and then I've got match 3. Actually, I'm gonna move that down just a bit there. Match 3. Let's go for Roman Reigns versus, let's have a look, Bully Ray versus Bully Ray in a steel cage. Okay, so weekly for segment 3, you're gonna have Roman Reigns brawls with Bully Ray. Okay, and then segment 4, and I realized I did that on all of them. So segment 4. Hold on, so go back. Okay, so segment 4, what we're gonna do for the main event for this one, and let's go for 6 weight women's. Hang on. So we're gonna be Elaborate University Gal Kim. So we're gonna make this a 10-woman division. So let's go for 10-woman battle royal. Final 4 advance. Alright, that's the main event for week 4. So again, it's not like perfectly laid out with the promo at the segment or matches. This is just a rough guide of what the first month may look like. So Roman Reigns versus Billy Ray Steel Cage, and then match 5. Let's go for Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry versus I don't think of somebody. Go for Joe Hendry versus Mike Henry. No. No, hang on. Tag team division. Sorry, I need to get them. Red Dragons. So this is going to be a triple threat. Red Dragons versus. What would be a good matchup pairing? AEW. AEW versus DIY. Triple threat ladder match. And this will be for, hang on, let me just move that down one. Let me just cut that out. Put that on there. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't where's my feet gone? Alright, so gone there. So I want to try that. Red Dragons versus AEW versus DIY triple threat ladder match. No, that's how I undo. Why are you playing it for? I click on complete more thing. Hold on. Do it the other way around. Insert both. I go that way. Tag team championship. Championship. Tag team championship, and I need to get rid of that N. Sorry. Tag team championship. Triple threat ladder matchup. Alright, I know my typing is terrible because I'm looking at the screen and looking at that at the same time. So, right. So this is going to be roughly an idea of the first pay-per-view. So you got the junior heavyweight title, women's title, Roman Reigns and Billy Ray Steel Cage match in between, television title, 2 out of 3 falls, Josh Alexander versus Perry Saturn, tag team championship matchup, Red Dragons versus AEW versus DIY, triple threat ladder matchup, world title match main event, fatal 4-way double elimination matchup, Jacob Fatu versus Sheamus versus Gunther versus Aleister Black. That is my first month of the promotion for building your roster and having champions, once you kind of get something put in place. Let me know what you guys think of this challenge, and then, I know that this is not perfectly laid out. I just did this off the cuff because I had a bit of free time, so that's why it's a little bit random and the typing was terrible. I did not have this pre-planned at all. It was just a random video. So let me know what you guys think of this roster and how the matches look. God bless.